So let's talk about, if you are in USDA zones 3 through 8, what are the top 3 things that you should be doing right now? So you're in that cold, temperate climate growing zone. Now, the first thing and most important, and my grandmother would agree, garlic. Plant your garlic. You are going to regret it come springtime if you haven't planted it. Now, you're pretty late getting in the game if you don't have your garlic heads by now. But worst case scenario, go to the grocery store, find the ones that are sprouting a little bit, and just break those things apart 3 times the depth of the bulb itself and get them in the ground. You'll be so thankful. Now, same thing with all the other Dutch flowers, your crocus and your daffodils, the allium family, all of those Dutch bulbs that are going to come up in the springtime, they got to go in the ground now. So there is an article on the PermacultureFX blog, and I will tag that in the description below, of what winter bulbs that you can plant now and in December, and even between the frost. Now, garlic, you do want to get that in the ground now. So I would say that is the most important thing. If you can do nothing else, garlic, garlic, garlic. The second thing would be, I would say soil, covering your soil with something. If you can get wood chips or straw, awesome. You're doing great. Honestly, if you're just using your bagger mower and you're sucking up leaves and the grass clippings, it's even better because you've got small sticks, you've got nitrogen in the grass, you've got the carbon that's in the leaves. Just using your bagger mower every couple weeks and putting it around a fruit tree, putting it over the garden bed, putting it around those perennial flowers that you want to protect. They're a little bit more, cold sensitive. Cover your soil with whatever you've got. Wood chips are great, straw is great, but honestly, I really love using a bagger mower. That's what my mom and dad did up in Michigan for years and still do it now. They don't cover their annual flower beds usually with wood chips. Now, if they got it, of course, they're going to do the food forest line or whatever with wood chips, but usually it's leaves in the fall, and that decomposes so nice. You get this black gold by springtime because during those frost thaws, it just decomposes so beautifully. So I'd say the second thing is cover your soil. The third thing, leave your spent perennials right now. If you have grasses like your Carl Forester grass, when I lived in Kansas City, I love the look of grasses in the winter when they're dried. And you can just leave those dried grasses if you want for winter interest. Or people get fancy and they tie them up with like raffia or a bow or whatever for Christmas, or, and it looks really pretty. I've even braided them before and done the little kind of swirl braid around them. It gets really bougie. Did that out in front of the wedding venue a couple times in Kansas City. But I would say leave those spent perennials that have seed heads, and especially those grasses, because that's where the native insects, the butterflies, the caterpillars, the bees, they're all they found their winter home. So you don't want to disrupt them. Just leave it as is. And honestly, the songbirds are going to feed on those seed heads all winter long. And it's great for them. And it's nice to look out the window on those cold wintry days and go, I love watching the birds, and just sit in the warmth, the wood stove heat, and just sip your coffee. I mean, that's life. That is a good life, but it's not going to happen if you cut back all your grasses and your spent perennials. So just leave it as it is. Clean it up in the springtime. Now, things like hosta that are like rotting leaves, of course, remove rotting debris. But those drier grasses and seed heads, I would go ahead and leave those. So again, those 3 things are garlic and Dutch flowers. Cover your soil with pretty much whatever you've got, and leave the grass and the perennials. And if you do those 3 things in USDA zone 3 through 8, you're going to be sitting really nicely in November and December.